Give the gift of Rev Voice this Christmas. Rejoice with Rev Voice when you sign up and enter to win 12 days of giveaways, including a 2015 Jeep Wrangler from Bahamas Bus and Truck.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned in to MB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, police hit the streets for a special operation. MB12 is there for the action. The immigration minister takes exception to reports of abuse and children being left hungry at the detention center, calls to review the Employment Act after What Fall closes its doors, plus hear from Miss Bahamas as she prepares to take on the world at the Miss Universe pageant. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on MB12 Weekend. Welcome once again to MB12. Police flooded the streets of New Providence overnight in an island-wide operation that resulted in arrests and the seizure of illegal firearms and drugs. According to police, 29 people were arrested for a number of offenses, including murder, armed robbery, and possession of dangerous drugs. Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Bethel led that joint operation. He said it was a part of the police force's strategy to cut down on crime by targeting high-crime areas.
This is the continuation of the operation that we have launched to take us into the Yuletide season and into the new year. This is an operation for the Bahamian people. We have a duty to perform, and our duty is to make sure that they're safe and they feel safe. We are not going to allow a small handful of criminals to intimidate persons as they try to go about their normal business. Shopping for Christmas and trying to get things together for their families. We are going to be out here every day. We have a team for the day and a team for the night, and a big team of officers, plain clothes, going about, and they'll be targeting a lot of these prolific offenders who are on bail for murders, rape, and armed robberies, and who may be in possession of guns.
4 people were arrested for illegal firearm possession. The first arrest happened at around 9 last night. Officers from the Firearms Tracing and Investigations Unit took 2 men ages 22 and 21 into custody after they found an illegal handgun in a vehicle they were driving on Taylor Street in Nassau Village. Then shortly after 3 this morning, officers from the Firearms Tracing and Investigations Unit arrested a 59-year-old woman and a 32-year-old man after they found an illegal handgun in their home on Rupert Dean Lane.
We are focusing on individuals who are either in possession of firearms, have been found in possession of firearms, and also paying attention to the usage of these firearms, gunshots reports, and otherwise that are taking place throughout the city. Coming into Nassau Village just a few minutes ago, our officers observed this vehicle just behind me, a Prima, that appeared to be rather suspicious to young males within the vehicle. We were successful in bringing that vehicle to a stop.
Drug Enforcement Unit is out in full numbers in support of our national policing initiative. We have been out from earlier this afternoon executing a number of search warrants. Just recently we were able to execute on some of our prolific offenders who are out on bail with their ankle monitor, who's in violation of their bail condition. They are very serious offenders, from attempted murders to armed robberies, and we are happy that we actually have them now behind bars. We're going to further process them and hopefully put them back before the courts.
Police also cited 234 traffic violators and closed a number of clubs for operating in breach of the Business License Act. While following reports in the Tribune of claims of abuse by detainees at the Carmichael Road Detention Center, Minister of Immigration Fred Mitchell insisted today that the fundamental rights of each and every individual is a top priority. Mitchell said each public allegation is reviewed by the Department of Immigration and investigated. It was reported in the Tribune that a Bahamian woman of Haitian descent was wrongfully apprehended by officers during a routine exercise. The woman also claimed that the staff at the detention center assaulted her. Mitchell said the department is aware of a woman coming in to file a complaint on Thursday, but she left before her complaint could be addressed.
She is welcome to return again if she believes that her complaint was not addressed, but at this point, the evidence is that her version of the facts does not match the records of the department. I advise the public that for quality assurance and for the protection of both the officers and suspects, we are looking into the possibility of installing cameras in the transporting buses. Similarly, the complaint by Fred Smith QC was reported in the press. The report of Mr. Smith does not match the evidence which is available to the department. In fact, the incident which he describes may have jeopardized the safety of an immigration operation.
As for reports in that same newspaper that children were left hungry and had to sleep on the floor, Mitchell said the department is especially sensitive about the treatment of children.
I would only say again that if the parents are lawfully in the Bahamas, they are invited to file a complaint either to the embassy of their nationality or directly to the Assistant Director of Immigration, Dwight Beneby, for investigation. Mr. Beneby is right here. In reviewing the newspaper report, though, the officials pointed out to me that the individual making the complaint agreed that he had abandoned his children. Again, both complaints are being reviewed along with our procedures to be sure that no standard of human dignity or law was violated. Officers take the utmost care in dispensing their duties, and we are especially sensitive about the treatment of children.
Nonetheless, the minister said efforts are being made to find better detainment spaces for mothers and children.
The Department of Social Services is working now to find a place for women with children to be held, and we should be in a position to make an announcement on that matter shortly. In the meantime, the repatriation of 228 people back to their home country, including children, should take place on Tuesday of this week. I again urge patience and support of the public in these matters. We are grateful for the support and trust of the people of the country.
And according to the Department of Immigration, as of November 1st, some 3,000 people have been repatriated. Well, though just one person remains on death row after several death sentences were quashed in recent years, Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson says her office will continue to seek the death penalty in cases that legally warrant it. Jasmine Brown has details.
Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson made the comments to our news team 2 weeks after the appeals court quashed the death sentence of a man convicted of a contract killing.
The Court of Appeal ordered Anthony Clark Sr. resentenced for the murder of Alias Tillis at Love Beach. The panel will give a reasoned decision, but in initial comments said hanging is over as the benchmark of the worst for the imposition of the death penalty. However, Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson said prosecutors are not deterred and will continue to seek the death penalty as it remains on the books.
As Attorney General, I'll say that so long as the law in relation to capital punishment is on our books, and it is on our books, members of the Attorney General's office, where we are of the opinion that it is appropriate, will ask for the death penalty.
Though prosecutors will continue to seek the death penalty, the Attorney General admits it's a complex issue.
First of all, the accused person must be found to be guilty by a jury of his peers, and thereafter it's entirely a matter for the court whether such a sentence will be imposed.
At the moment, only one person remains on death row. Kofi Goodman, otherwise known as Alvaro Ferguson, is the only murder convict under sentence of death. He was convicted of the murder of 11-year-old Marco Archer, whose decomposing remains were found in bushes near Goodman's house.
We recognize fully that it is the decision of the court.
The last execution took place in January 2000 when David Mitchell was hanged for the murders of 2 German tourists. Mitchell's execution was controversial as it occurred while a petition was pending with the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights. His victim's son had also asked for the sentence to be commuted to life. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Earlier this week, disgruntled Woodfall employees expressed outrage after the business abruptly closed its doors, reportedly without notifying its workers or paying them. Now, President of the Bahamas Public Service Union, John Pinder, tells NB12 this calls for government intervention and a thorough review of the Employment Act. Simone Davis reports.
Pinder said Woodfall has always been a successful business, so he doesn't think the establishment was shut down because of financial issues. He suggested that the incident had something to do with the new gaming regulations and web shop registration requirements.
I know the WhatsApp was about the fourth largest operation in the Bahamas as it relates to web shops based on the amount of outlets they were operating from. So they should have been in a position, based on the financial report we have gotten from these persons who are dealing with the web shops, that all of them should have been in a position to pay their fees. However, some people make business decisions that they want to get out of the game now because the game is going to be controlled and no longer they manipulate people. I'm saddened by the fact that they didn't take their staff into consideration. I know that operation was making quite a bit of money, and I've never heard of them getting hit to the point where, it could have put them in any financial stress.
He commended the other web shop establishments for following the new guidelines of the gaming industry to transition into legal businesses.
It's sad to know that because they're operating at that time as an illegal business, that they have the right to treat staff in that manner. And so I am pleased to hear that the other web shops are prepared to look at those staffers and even look at the establishment that they are operating to see how they can best up. That was a very good thing that the other web shops were trying to do.
Pinder says the government should find a way to strengthen the Employment Act to ensure that Bahamian workers do not become victims of these types of situations. He also noted that the union has drafted a proposal for the government for ways that the act can fully protect the employees.
Government must put policies and procedures in place to protect workers in this country. We gotta strengthen our Employment Act to ensure that persons are not able to just allow people, or we don't just allow business establishment to close down, shut down. We're not having in place some sort of funds put aside in the event they have to pay sovereign pay to people because they have to close their businesses down. So the government needs to look at that now. So financial reports needs to now indicate that X amount of your net profit is put aside. As a matter of fact, that should be an expense to the organization.
The BPSU president said he thinks foreign investors are capable of taking advantage of Bahamian employees because the current Employment Act does not properly protect them. He said there should be immediate regulations implemented into business contracts to stop or prevent this.
Just as foreign investors are getting away with this, now it appears to be duplicating itself among local business establishments. So I'm hoping that the government would cause there to be, certainly wearing my cap as president of the NCTU, we'll ensure that we now, once again, reiterate the importance of the government putting policies in place to protect persons who are entitled to sovereign pay, vacation pay, and all the rest of that if a business establishment folds up.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.